What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with another review for Paradise, you guys. Season 1, episode 4, you guys. The episode was titled Agent Billy, what's Billy's last name? Agent Billy Pace, you guys. So before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss Paradise, shall we? All right, guys, so this episode was really good. Didn't expect what happened at the end to happen, but it was good. So yeah, you guys, now again, I know I keep saying every week that I'm gonna binge it, but I am gonna binge it this week because I'm on episode 4. So we got 5, 6, 7, and 8. 4 more episodes left of the season for me personally. But yeah, you guys, if you guys have watched this season, you guys have watched up to you guys know I'm only talking about episode 4. So we can talk about episodes 1 through 4. Let me know what you guys have thought about it so far. Again, 1 through 4. But let's go ahead and get into the episode, you guys. Now, this episode, like I said, the title is Agent Billy Pace. So this episode is a Billy-centric episode. And so the episode, what I will say is with this episode, yes, we did a lot of flashbacks with it. So with this one, I couldn't put all of them like, one scene with this scene because it was just, the whole episode was a flashback. So we're going to go in sequential order of my notes. Now, the episode opens and we see a young Billy, right, with his uncle who is very abusive and talking disrespectful to this child, right? So they went hunting. And so Billy got the rifle pointed at the deer, right? And the dog barks and the deer ran. And so the uncle went up to Billy and just slapped the hell out of him. I was like, damn. I mean, just slapped the shit out of him. So then we see them back at the house. And, Billy, they getting ready for dinner. And Billy has fixed a plate for the dog. And the uncle was like, no, you ain't finna feed that dog. Take that dog outside. Put one right between the eyes. I was like, oh, so we pulling a Christy Gnome, huh? We pulling a Christy Gnome in this bitch. So Billy got he got it pointed at the dog, but he can't do it. So then the uncle comes out and he yelling at Billy. Once again, I was like, sir, why are you yelling at a kid that has a gun in his hand? So Billy pops him. I was like, oh, wasn't expecting that. So then we see Billy as he was in juvenile, right? And so this young boy comes up to Billy, is messing with Billy, talking about you the one that, unalived your uncle. Billy must have went off on that boy and whooped his ass. I was like, well, damn. Okay. But then we see as Billy got out of, I don't know if Billy got out, if that couldn't have been juvenile. That had to be prison. But Billy got out of some kind of detainment center, right? And so there was this guy named Jack there, right? And so Jack is picking Billy up, taking him to, like, I'm going to use air quotes, military base. But it ain't a military base. It's more so they're training mercenaries. I was like, why would you want to train a mercenary? A mercenary? But okay, there's a job out there for everybody. That is one job I don't know how. Mercenaries? No. So then we move back to present day with Billy and Jane in bed, right? So it's time for the carnival. And Jane is ecstatic about the carnival. And I was looking at Jane. It's like, it's something about Jane that I just don't trust. I was like, it's something about Jane that I don't trust. And that was even before we got to the end of the episode. Because even from the first time we met Jane, I was like, there's something off about her. And I couldn't put my finger on it. Now, I really wouldn't have been able to put my finger on it until we got, I was like, oh, that's what I was picking up on. But neither here nor there, right? Now, we move over to Xavier. So Xavier is still at Gabriella's place. And he was like, oh, fuck. Because he has his routine with the kids. If he's not gonna come home that night, he has they have a plan that they go through. So he's rushing to get out of there, right? And so, Gabriella is asking him, like, what do you think about what I said last night? Remember, the night before she said that Cal told her if anything happens to him, look at Billy. And I'm kind of confused. getting ahead of myself because I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But, he said he will track him down and he'll talk to him, right? Now, let me pause here and let me move forward. So after that, we see as Xavier has left Gabriella's place, right? So he texts Billy because he's saying, "Hey, we need to talk." And as he's sending this text message to him, there's a truck that is backing up. Beep, 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 beep. And then we get a flashback scene. So this flashback scene, it appears to be when they all arrived at this underground city that they're in currently. And you see the kids, they're asking about, their mom. We see if they get through the checkpoint, right? Now on the checkpoint list, it has Xavier, 2 minor children, and his wife. But Xavier said that his wife, she's not coming, right? I do have a question, but I don't want the answer to it because again, I'm wondering if we're gonna find out more about the wife, as which y'all can say if we're gonna find out more about, if I'm gonna find out more about her in the next 4 episodes. You can definitely leave that in the comment section. I don't have a problem with that, as long as you don't leave a spoiler. As long as you don't leave a spoiler, we're fine. So we see Xavier as he got home, right? So Presley was like, "Dad, don't we have a system? So what happened last night, right?" He apologized to her, and she was like, "You don't have to apologize. It's a lot of stuff that's going on right now, so it's absolutely understandable, right?" Now we see as Presley is leaving to go to the carnival because she's going to be helping Jeremy and his band set up, right? So then we see Xavier as he's talking to James. So James is talking about how he wants to get on a roller coaster. Not a roller coaster, the Ferris wheel. But he has a little fear about the Ferris wheel. You know what? As a kid, I used to have a fear about the Ferris wheel too. And I will say also, I've still, at this big age of mine, I still haven't been on a Ferris wheel. It has nothing to do with fear. I don't want to get on no Ferris wheel. Because I saw Ferris wheels go up in the air, and I saw them also get stuck in the air, and I'm terrified of heights. So if I get on the Ferris wheel and that slow moving thing gets stuck in the air, I will lose my shit. Period, point blank, right? Now Xavier is looking through his phone. He still hasn't gotten a response back from Billy. So he told James, like, "I'm gonna take you across the street and then I'm gonna go check on Uncle Billy." So we see as he pulled up to Billy's house, right? And looking at his phone, still no text message from Billy. But then Billy texted him, told him he was already at the office, but Xavier can see Billy through the window, right? Now, we get another flashback scene, and in this scene, we see as Billy and Xavier are at this bar, right? And they're going to secure this bar. They're scoping out the exits and all this kind of stuff in case the president wants to make a stop here, right? Billy is talking about what a lush Cal is. And we later kind of see that Cal is a little bit of lush, right? Because after a speech that Cal had, actually we see Cal preparing for a speech, right? And so he's talking to Xavier and to Billy, and he's asking them both, what do you think about this, right? Billy told him in no uncertain terms, like, the shit is fucked up, right? We're in this underground fucking city. Tell the people what they really want to hear. Like, don't give them this fluff. Don't give them this bullshit. And I was like, you know what? I agree with that, right? And then we move back to present day, right? So we see Presley. So she's with Jeremy. Jeremy, remember, he's going to be performing. Him and his band are performing at the carnival. But his mind is not really on performing at the carnival. His mind is more so on the fact that, I'm here celebrating when we're in a dark time because my dad is dead, and here I am singing some stupid ass 80s song. Again, my dad is dead. And Presley was able to cheer Jeremy up, right? Now, we'll pause right here and we'll move forward. Okay, so moving forward, you guys, we see as Xavier went back to the office, right? He's going through Billy's file, and he's reading Billy's file. While he's reading Billy's file, Jane comes in, and Jane is like, "What are you doing, boss?" And he was like, "Oh, just catching up on some paperwork." She said, "Oh yeah, me too." So then he says to her, like, "I know that you are really close to Billy." And she was like, "Oh no, it's nothing like that." He was like, "Jane, I got eyes. I know what it is." So he's asking her, does she suspect that anything is off with Billy, right? And she was like, no. Well, she says, well, he does seem a little bit more distracted because ordinarily he'd be more excited about this carnival, but he's not, right? And so that ends their conversation right there. So she left, but Xavier stayed in there. He continued to read the file, right? While he's reading the file, he finished reading the file. He puts the file back away. When he puts the file back away, Nicole comes by and notices that he put the file back. And so Nicole, he left out. He didn't see Nicole, but Nicole saw him, right? And then we see as in a flashback scene, we see as Xavier and Billy, and I believe it's Xavier and Billy at the bar at this particular point in the episode. And at this point, it's been 2 months since they have been in this underground city, right? The more that I'm watching this episode, I'm like, what I said previously in last week's review, I'm thinking it's holding fruition because this is really, truly giving captivity the more I think of it. So Xavier is talking about how being here is becoming more normalized for him, and that's a little scary for him. Whereas with Billy is talking about, the things that he saw and he's done in his lifetime. For this to feel like normal, it feels good to him, right? But he says if Xavier knew some of the things that he did, Xavier wouldn't be sitting with him right here, right now. And I'm like, yep, I do agree with that, right? So then this is the part where Xavier invited Billy to the house for dinner to meet the kids, right? And so we see as Billy went to meet the kids, it was very awkward. He introduced himself. He said, you guys can call me Uncle Billy if you want to. And he was like, oh, fuck, I thought your kids would be bigger than what they are. I was like, they're kids. They're kids. What do you expect, Billy? But hey, it is what it is, right? Now, back to present day, we see Jane at the carnival with Billy. She's, talking about what she wants to do, get their face painted, get on this ride, do that, da-da-da-da-da. And then Nicole comes up to Billy and she was like, Billy, I need to have a conversation with you alone, not with your video game buddy, right? And then she says, what the fuck are you wearing to Jane over there, right? So when they left, Jane took her jean jacket and covered herself up, right? Because Jane was like, well, I'm not working. Now, Nicole is telling Billy that his buddy Xavier is on Sinatra's radar, and that's not a good thing. And the more this episode went on, I was like, that's definitely not a good thing. You guys, I'm so excited to get to the end of this season. I am really excited to get to the end of this season to see how this shit plays out, because this is some weirdo shit. When I tell you weirdo shit, weirdo shit. Now, we see as Xavier and James were walking through the carnival, right? At one point, Xavier spotted Gabriella. When he spotted Gabriella, he was like, ooh, shit, let's divert away from her. So when he diverted away from Gabriella, mind you, James is talking about this Ferris wheel that he wants to get on. But Xavier is not listening to what James is saying. Then he notices Sinatra, Nicole, and Billy talking, so he gets away from them as well, right? Now, Billy did go up to Presley and was like, have you saw your dad? And she was like, no. So Billy is like, what's with the long face? And so, he realizes that she likes Jeremy. He basically told her, like, if you like him, go tell him how you feel about him, because that's what he did with Jane. And the way he told Jane that he likes her, it was a weird thing. But hey, it is what it is, right? But we also found out from this scene that Presley knows about game night with Jane and with Jane and Billy, because she's been there. I was like, that's very interesting, right? Interesting. But we'll pause here, you guys, and we'll move forward. I feel like we're going to wrap up the episode, but I'm not entirely positive. Okay, so after that, we see Gabriella. So Gabriella finally found Xavier and James again, right? So James was introduced to Gabriella, but before that, it was an awkward exchange between Xavier and Gabriella, because Gabriella, he's like, we had a good time. It was a good time last night. We had fun. She was like, just pump the brakes. It was a good time. It may happen again, but she said, have you talked to him yet, right? He says he hasn't talked to him, and it hasn't been a good time. She was like, well, I know where he is. He's over there by the funnel cake line, so skedaddle. And so that's when he introduced her to James. And so he told James, this is my friend Gabriella. She's going to be with you for just a minute and I'll be right back, right? Now, we see, now moving back, like I said, this episode had a lot of flashback. And I couldn't really, I wish the flashbacks were more sequential, but I couldn't do it, right? But 3 months into them being in this underground, Cal has become a regular at the bar, right? And so Xavier was like, well, you should have just, you should at least let us secure the place, right? And Cal is like, secure a place where there's no guns. What are they gonna do? I mean, eat me with a straw or something like that. But then they start talking about the people that they've lost, right? And I thought it was interesting because the bartender, his wife is a scientist, right? Which is going to come up a little bit later. But they're talking about, the unknown for them. The unknown for them is not knowing what's going on. I guess I'll call it the surface world because, again, they're underground. So they don't know what's going on up there in the surface world. And the unknown is bothering them at this point, right? So then we see 6 months into them being underground, we see as the bartender's wife, the scientist, and 3 other people, so it's 4 people in total, I believe, right? They're going to be going up to the surface land and survey it, see what's going on up there, see if it's viable life up there, see what can be done up there, if anything could be done, and come back down to the underground world and let everybody know. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But we'll see. We shall see, right? All right, you guys, so I want to pause here and wrap up the episode. So, back in the present day, we see as Xavier, he met up with Billy, and Billy is telling Xavier that he needs to stop and back the fuck off. And he's looking at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Billy says, they know that you were reading my fucking file, bro. And so Xavier questioned him like, so why the fuck did you lie to me this morning telling me that you were in the office when you weren't at the office? He was like, wait a minute, were you outside of my house? He was like, he said Jane was there, right? And he was like, wait, were you outside of my house? And so Xavier said, stop the bullshit. The night that Cal was murdered, was it you that took him out? Because Cal has told people that if anything happened to him, look at you. And so Billy got pissed off, and Billy was like, what the fuck, man? Bro, like, your kids call me Uncle Billy. I wouldn't do no shit like that. And so he got upset at Xavier and he walked off. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, did he do it or did he not do it? Because if he did it, he's a good actor, right? If he did it, he's a good actor, and I believe, he's a good actor, right? But if he didn't do it, then who the fuck did it? But I think my theory is still, I'm still think I'm spot on with my theory that it's Sinatra. Especially once we got towards the end of the episode, right? I really feel like it's Sinatra, right? So Xavier went back to Gabriella and she was like, so what did he say? He said he didn't do it. And she was like, do you believe him? He was like, I do. And she's like, so why would Cal tell me that? He was like, I don't know. And so we then see as Billy is at the bar, right? And so we kept seeing these flashback scenes of Snow and Billy with a rifle in his hand, right? And I thought it was an animal that he was pointing at. So we see a picture of the bartender's wife, right? And then we see Billy with the rifle, and Billy, pew, pew, he's taking people out. And my brain put it together. I said, no, he did not do what I think he did. He did. Billy took out the 4 people that were told to go up and see what was going on in the real world. And the woman is telling Billy, like, we can live up here. We can breathe the air. Everything is fine up here. And so Billy, pow, blasted it. And I was like, fuck. So then we see Billy. Billy went to go see Sinatra, and Billy told Sinatra leave Xavier the fuck alone. Like, that's my family. Don't fuck with them, because if you fuck with them, you fucking with me. And I was like, ugh, this creepy ass, weird ass white lady. I don't know if I would want to fuck with her, right? So then she told him, you need to apologize to me and you need to back the fuck off, right? She's like, she's like, you can't think that you're the only, Killer that I brought down here, right? And he was like, okay. He was like, if you got a, she's like, so I can take you out. I can take you out, or that little girl that you got at your house, right? I was like, I would prefer you take her out. You can take out Jane, because like I said, something is off with Jane to me at this point. So then, he tells, she tells him about she can take him out, right? He said, well, if you don't do that, get a motherfucker. What did he tell her? Find the biggest motherfucker to take him out, right? So then we see as Billy, he went to go see Xavier. He wants to have one more night as Uncle Billy before he tells Xavier everything that he knows, right? And so, they have a good moment with each other. And then we see as Billy went home, right? Jane is there. And so she had a beer on the table. She was eating her food. While she was eating her food, I was like, somebody finna die in this scene. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be you or if it's gonna be Billy. Because I was like, somebody is poisoned. One of y'all is poisoned. And I didn't know who it was at the time. Because I kept seeing her eat her food. I was like, is it you? Then I saw Billy. I was like, nope, it's Billy. She poisoned Billy. And so she told Billy, you told Sinatra to find the biggest motherfucker. Well, that's me. I said, well, I'd be damn. So that's it for Billy, y'all, I guess. Damn. But a good episode nonetheless, like for real, really good episode. But let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. Turn on your post notifications and share the video, you guys. Until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourself, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.